All right, Herc, time to talk Olympics. U.S. men eliminated on Friday, losing 4-0 to Morocco in the quarterfinals in a game played in Paris. Morocco scored in the 29th minute from the penalty spot to make it 1-0. They took that lead into the half, then scored 3 more times in the second half to finish things off 4-0 as Morocco advanced to a semifinal. They would eventually lose today, actually, against Spain. The U.S., meanwhile, losing their first Olympic knockout match since 2000 and bringing to an end their first Olympic appearance since 2008. Herc, the final scoreline was a bit brutal, 4-0. Yes. Just how big a shadow does it cast over this U.S. Olympic performance and the program at large?
I don't know about shadow. I think it highlights the realities of things. If you thought you were better than Morocco with this B borderline C team, I don't know what to tell you. This Moroccan team's a very good team. This Moroccan team is all European based. This Moroccan team had Hakimi, and their goal scorer is not only their goal scorer, but the leading goal scorer of the Olympics. And they were 4 goals better than you because of the mistakes you made. You gave up 2 penalty kicks and you got outworked, outclassed, individual naive errors. Like Hakimi's goal, it's Kevin Paredes who just foul him. Don't let him beat you in the header and then run 70 yards with the ball to cut into his left foot. They let him go in, John Tolkien, and then near post on Patrick Schulte. There are levels to this. Now, there needs to be a dose of reality and humility to all involved, and I see this at all levels. Whether it's fandom, and I don't ever want to talk about the fans because fans will be fans. They want to demand the best because they think they deserve the best. That's fine. That's fine. But there are some pundits out there who are screaming at the top of their lungs like this is a systematic issue, like this is proof that you're not doing things the right way at the youth level, at developing players, which, by the way, may be true, but neither here nor there on this one. Think about the age-eligible players that are not here for a second, Seb. Can I read these out to you?
Yes, you've done it before.
Ricardo Pepi, Gio Reyna, Yunus Musa, Folarin Balogun, Joe Scally, Johnny Cardoso, Jalen Neal, Timothy Tillman, Christopher Lund, Brendan Aronson, Aiden Morris, Brian Reynolds. Those are just age-eligible players. Now, imagine if you can get the overage players you wanted, because we know Haji Wright, they looked at him, they said, come to, he's like, no, he's not going to go play a youth tournament. Brandon Vasquez, Monterrey, no, not going to go play at that either. So think about the age-eligible players you could have had, plus the age or just overage players you couldn't get. And you're seriously going to sit here and trip over a team that made the knockout rounds for the first time in 24 years and lost to the team they were supposed to lose to? Because it would have been a surprise if they beat Morocco. That's a reality. So while it's fine to hit the establishment, and I'm here for it when it needs to be hit, this isn't one of those moments. Yeah. This really isn't. Nobody, you and I sat here, have they already met expectations? And yes, they met expectations. Scoreline, that's not the way you lose. And let's get on Marko Mitrovic if that's what we want to get on. His starting 11, you didn't start a 9, you started Paxton Aronson. You know, you can get on him with the player selection maybe of this game and maybe heading into this Olympics. But realistically, when you're talking about the program, the systematic issues, those aren't what we're talking about. That's not what we're getting at here.
I agree with you. For the most part, like, this defeat, as heavy as it is, doesn't come close to undoing the good that I think, 1, getting out of the group phase does, and 2, just qualifying for the Olympics. Like, let's not forget, it's not something that you can take for granted. U.S. hadn't been in the Olympics since 2008. Even a country like Mexico that won Olympic gold in 2012, won bronze last time out, didn't qualify this time around. So they made it, and they made it out of the group with none of the guys that you just mentioned. So I don't think it's necessarily a big picture problem in that regard. The one thing that I think is noteworthy here is that it's a 4-0 scoreline, not against one of the blue bloods of football, right? It's not against an Argentina or a France or a Spain. And I think a result like a 4 or 5-0 against one of those countries, it's a little easier to write off, to just say, that's the gap between us and them, c'est la vie. I think the fact that it happens to Morocco is good, because I think that we can look at Morocco as a great example of what a country can do when it makes real change. We had our guy, I want to make his name, say his name, Anwar Amrani, who was on the other day, and he told us what happened at the Moroccan Federation. It's incredible, what a federation can achieve when it's not spending its time and resources on effectively propping up a corporation that pretends to be the men's professional first division. And when you focus on other things, the infrastructure of the game, countries like Morocco can achieve great things. So I think there is a lesson to be learned. And I think Morocco, and there's a few other countries we could throw out there, are actually great examples. And their success, while not necessarily saying something about this group of U.S. players in the negative, I do think should open some eyes to, hey, if Morocco can achieve these things, if Morocco can make the Olympics at a semifinals and make the semifinals at an Olympics and a World Cup and see the great growth we talked about in their women's program, why can't the same things happen here? That's what I think the biggest lesson should be about getting worked for nothing by this Moroccan team.
Okay. Can I just ask you something fair? Do you think if these players I mentioned were released that it could have been different than a 4-0 scoreline?
Oh, yeah. I think it definitely would have been different. Certainly. I don't know the depth of the Moroccan pool.
Right, but I'm just saying you're at the beck and call of the clubs. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I think it's so difficult. Like, any other tournament besides a youth tournament where you're at the beck and call of these clubs and which club will allow you and which club won't, it'd be a much even playing field for me to say, yep, you're right, you are wrong. But it's just, what are we analyzing here? The C team that got to actually experience these Olympics, you know?
Yeah. I think more the point for me is here to highlight what Morocco's done.
For sure.
And to say that there are countries who are not of the traditional powers that can achieve great things when their federations are working as they should, and when there is drastic change, not just the talk of drastic change, as we've heard a lot in recent years from U.S. soccer, but actual drastic change. Let's hear some more on the Olympic